We often get trapped in the obsession with how others perceive us, as if their gaze reflects our self-worth. But this isn't just some shallow insecurity. It's a deep-rooted instinct, dating back to our ancestors, who lived in small tribes where reputation meant survival. In a hunter-gatherer society thousands of years ago, being cast out could mean losing access to food, safety, or even the chance to survive. That's why the fear of judgment is hardwired into our brains as a survival mechanism. However, in today's modern world, where individuality is valued and society has evolved, does this fear still make sense? How can we free ourselves from the endless cycle of judgment and gossip and live a life that's truly our own? Worrying about what others think isn't irrational or shameful. It once played a vital role in human evolution when social acceptance was necessary to stay alive. But like many outdated instincts, this fear is no longer useful in the world we live in now. Today, we're surrounded by millions of strangers in sprawling cities, most of whom have no real stake in our personal stories. We're free to define ourselves, choose our own path, and make a living in countless ways without needing the approval of the crowd. Yet our minds still respond to criticism like we're living in a tiny village where every stare could mean life or death. We stress over the opinions of people who have little to no real influence on our lives, random coworkers or strangers on social media. The truth is, as long as we're not breaking the law or doing real harm, vague opinions from others can't determine our happiness or success. One reason we get pulled into the fear of judgment is the belief that if many people think something, it must be true. This mindset is rooted in childhood, when we viewed parents, teachers, and other adults as unquestionable sources of truth. Back then, we believed they were always right, just because they could drive cars, cook meals, or kick a ball farther than we could. But growing up means realizing adults can be wrong too, and that the majority isn't always right. History shows us countless examples of widespread beliefs that turned out to be deeply flawed, from cultural biases passed down through generations to common sense ideas later disproven. Blind faith in popular opinion isn't humility, it's a lack of confidence in our own judgment. It's time to start asking questions, thinking critically, and trusting that our perspective can be valid, even if it goes against the grain. The crowd's opinion is not a timeless truth. We often assume that what people think today is what they'll think forever, so we feel pressured to mold ourselves accordingly. But the truth is, society is constantly changing. What's celebrated today, whether it's a career path, a lifestyle, or a parenting style, can be dismissed as outdated just a few years later. So why sacrifice your freedom and happiness to chase values that could disappear tomorrow? When we fear being judged, we give up the chance to live a life that's truly ours. You could spend your youth trying to please others, only to realize those stares and opinions weren't worth it, and that your time slipped away in vain. At its core, the anxiety over how others see us isn't just about fear. It's about the desire to be loved and accepted. We want others to like us, admire us, and care about what we do. We're afraid that if we don't fit in, we'll be left behind, isolated in the cold. But that's an illusion. The love and attention we crave from the crowd doesn't really exist. There's no reward for always being agreeable and making everyone happy. No matter how hard you try to fit in, people can still walk away when things get tough. You're taking on all the downsides of living in a society: scrutiny, interference, and judgment, without getting the real benefits like loyalty or genuine support. Instead of chasing validation from a sea of strangers, focus on meaningful relationships where you're loved for who you are, not for playing a version of yourself that others expect. Everyone needs love. That's completely natural. But we don't need the whole world to love us. A crowd cheering us on with shallow compliments or fleeting support from strangers can never replace the value of a few deep, meaningful relationships. Maybe what we truly need is just 3 great friends, people who will stand by us in the storm, who will defend us when the world turns its back. Those 3 are enough to build a steady and fulfilling life. The judgmental glances or idle gossip from people who don't genuinely care about us are in the end just meaningless noise, never worth a second of our precious time. Beyond that, we need to realize that no one is merely a passive bystander, simply accepting everything as it is. Inside every person is a part that wants to rebel, to break free from the molds that have held them back. Even those who appear the most conservative have, in their quiet moments, questioned whether the rules they follow are truly worth it. They too have doubts about the norms they uphold, and they too long for greater freedom, but they may not yet have found a way to live it. So when we dare to rise, to live differently, unchained from others' expectations, we're not just living for ourselves, we're inspiring the people around us. We become the voice of a quiet yearning inside them, the longing to break free from needless judgment. When we choose to live a life that isn't dictated by how others see us, we don't just claim freedom for ourselves, we also open a new path for those silently admiring our courage. Every small step we take can become a light for someone else, helping them see that they too can live their own way. One day they may look at our journey and find the strength to walk theirs, to let go of the fear of judgment, and embrace a life where they no longer bow to meaningless scrutiny. And in that moment, we won't just be living for ourselves, we'll be reminding the world that true freedom begins the day you dare to be yourself, regardless of what anyone thinks. Life is far too short to waste it pleasing people who don't really care. Every moment spent worrying about what others say is a moment lost, one we could have used to live more honestly, more fully. Choose to live in a way that, when you look back, you can smile and say, I lived for me, not for anyone's gaze. That's a life worth living. A free, meaningful life, unburdened by the weight of empty judgment. In the end, what's truly frightening isn't other people's judgment. It's living our whole life running away from ourselves just to avoid it. Every time we stay quiet out of fear, every time we bend ourselves to please others, we step further from who we really are. And if we keep doing that, by the end of the road, what we'll regret most won't be our mistakes, but the chances we missed to live truthfully. Freedom doesn't come from being accepted by others. It comes the moment we're brave enough to say, I choose to live as myself, no matter who's watching. When we no longer bow to judgment, we finally raise our heads to face life with integrity and self-respect. And in that courage, we discover something greater than love, liberation. I hope you found this video helpful. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to hit the like button. It might seem like a small thing, but because of how the YouTube algorithm works, videos with more likes tend to get shown to more people. So your like really helps this video reach others who might need it too. And if you find my content valuable, consider subscribing. It really helps more people discover it. Thanks for watching, and I wish you and your family good health and peace. See you in the next video.